Okay, let's get ready. It's Monday. My name is Vander Puchert, and this is Finding Frequency. Monday edition. Energized. Okay, maybe not that energized. The day is nearly done. And I don't know what it is about Mondays. Mondays for me is always a bit of a slow start. But when I say slow start, doesn't mean that I'm not productive. It's usually the day that I use to just shuffle things around and then nest myself into a position where I can then start working. Really like shoulders down, keyboard, boom. And I must say, after shuffling a whole bunch of cables around because I'm readjusting my little setup here. Now, to describe to you, I'm sitting in a very, very small home office area. I can't take up too much. I think it's probably at most 2 meters by 1 meter, like a rectangle area that I live in. And then in this area, there's 2 gigantic-ish lights. I've got 3 cameras, 2 at the moment running. I've got a camera switcher. I've got all my audio gear. I've got like a USB hub. And I'll tell you what, like the cables running here is insane. It's like each little piece of equipment that I add to my desk requires a power source of its own or needs to be plugged into one of the power sources that I have. So for example, my USB hub is like running really hot. And this is something I never realized, is that you have to actually look around you to actually see how hot your equipment's running. So for example, I mean, not everybody listening to this is like a tech junkie like me, but be careful where you put your laptop. So if you put your laptop against something else or against a radio or against any other device, make sure that it's not generating more heat. You'll quickly hear your laptop fans kicking in. And I think that is also probably that played a bit of a role when my laptop had a bit of a problem a couple of months ago, is how I was managing airflow around all my devices. In fact, I also bought a little stand here to help with the airflow around my laptop. But that's more for when you do video editing from time to time like I do. And then I'm planning to do a little bit more live streaming in coming weeks, and that generates a lot of usage of the old CPU. And so I mean, you didn't tune in to listen to me waffle on about digital stuff, and hopefully some of it is useful. So take care of your gear. I'm also trying to dust off old gear that are lying around to see if I can't make it work for me in a way to make my life a little bit more interesting, or playing around a little bit, tweaking, testing, learning. That's what I'm trying to do, and it's my way of handling this pandemic. I think I can't go to my coffee shops and see my friends, and that is something that happened to me over the weekend. I got to see my friend Katie, who came past to drop something off that she borrowed, and it was so strange to see her and her friend and not being able to give her a hug or invite her upstairs for a bit of a conversation and a bit of a chill out and just catching up. We ended up standing outside with our masks on for about a half an hour talking and catching up, and there was this awkwardness, not awkwardness in the sense of pandemic, but we wanted to spend a bit more time hanging out and talking about things in life. So unfortunately, that is not meant to be for now. But then I also wanted to say something because I felt a little bit guilty about it last night, because I mentioned a little bit of work this weekend in yesterday's or the previous episodes. And I wanted to clarify, because I did a little piece of work on Sunday that I didn't mention. And I didn't see it as work. I had a brainstorm session with a very, very good friend of mine. And we just got together. We have this kind of inkling of an idea that we wanted to craft. And it might be a piece of business, it might not. We are exploring it. So we were exploring different missions, vision statements, and what is it that we want to work together on. And I think for me, that was really time well spent on a weekend. Remember what I spoke about time well saved and time well spent? Any time spent with Martha and Francis, time well spent. But time spent with my friend, and I'll tell more about it later on when it starts taking shape, was really useful. And I wanted to share a little bit about what we did, because I think for me specifically, it's interesting. It's that rather than thinking about doing a certain solution, so for example, a mobile app or a workshop or a training program or anything like that. We actually stopped ourselves. Of course, our heads are bursting with different ideas of things that we can do together. But we sat down yesterday for an hour and we spoke about a vision that we want to develop for ourselves. Now, remember, I'm also trying to challenge myself to say, how do I think as an entrepreneur? So as an entrepreneur, I don't care what I build. I need to think of it in a business context. But then what I hang my hat on is, what is my vision? What am I trying to achieve? And as a human being, I want to work on things that make the world a better place. And that is a choice that you can make personally. What that vision, how you express that vision is then how you bring a business to life and, aligning with those. But anyway, I'm getting deep in the weeds here. We spent some time together to figure out a vision. And let's say nothing happens, worst case scenario, from this exercise. I just felt it was really invigorating to work and look at things from that perspective. And, developing that out and seeing potential where to go. We have a second session set up to talk a little bit about missions. A mission. So when you develop the vision, you set the North Star, and that thing is really like a higher goal. So for example, if you look at Elon Musk, a vision, I don't know how to articulate his actual SpaceX vision. It's written down somewhere, but I would say his vision aligns with making humankind space ready, space worthy, getting them into space. But when you look at that kind of vision, that doesn't mean, that's not as specific as getting to Mars or building a space rocket. Space rocket, Mars, all these things are things that plug into that, or is an articulation of that vision. So a vision can allow you to do a bunch of different things rather than just something specific. So it doesn't tie you down. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you because I'm excited about it, because I tend to sit more when it comes to actual work that I do, and sometimes some of my consulting work, to sit on the mission side of things where people want to build something. They want you to create something that hopefully or theoretically plugs into a vision. And it's really hard to build something when you don't share an excitement or, a buy-in into that vision. I'm getting lost in the weeds here, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. And I wanted to plug this into also something interesting that I read over the weekend of another good friend of mine, is that, as we move forward in this world and we are looking at what's happening in our big democracy across the pond, and I'm not talking about England. England's the islands, the smaller one. But something that she said triggered a thought in my mind, and I love how my very intelligent friends can trigger these things and keep things alive. But I always said, in this podcast, and I believe in this, is that the only thing you can change is yourself. And I just realized yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that I read this or watched the video, is that I can say a lot of things about different countries and different presidents and different approaches to things, but I'm going to have to start looking at how my own business, my family, my own business approach things. So for example, I have a very strong opinion on what happened and who caused it and what caused it and how different companies are reacting to it. And that is me taking a stance or a perspective. That means that I shouldn't be a hypocrite, that's the word, and then do the opposite within my business. So I need to consider the clients that I take on. I need to consider who I want to do business with and how they are acting in the world too. So it's through, even with my small little agency, I need to make sure that my relationships are solid and not just based on the revenue that I'm bringing in. So that is a refreshing thought, I think. It's cool to be able to say, hey, I can do something. And I'm seeing it as a positive, not as a challenge, but as there's always this question, okay, cool, yeah, how do you change all these things? This is something that you can actually do. Like, see who you're talking to, see how you're doing business with, and the challenge with that is that it might hurt your pocket. But what are you going to do? Are you going to take the dent in your pocket, or are you going to sell your principles? Now, I know. I'm speaking from, once again, a pedestal of privilege, a PP. And, I can't throw that blanket too wide, because for some of us, it's a very tough decision and something that we need to consider and think through. I never want to take food out of someone's kids' mouths. That's not my job. That's not what I want to do. And then also, I'm also living under no kind of fake vibe that I think that my decisions or my thoughts are going to guide you. You're your own person. You're just listening to some dodgy South African in Warsaw that is hopefully mildly entertaining, even if it's just the accent and the fact that he tends to blow up his own equipment and has a very cute son. Now that we can agree on, right? Cool. Thanks for listening, and good luck for the week. I'll see you here tomorrow, same time, same place. Ciao.